all, happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining me here tonight. We are continuing on the Stitch'n Hedgie embroidery. It is the embroidery of the month and it's in a cute little drawstring bag. We're continuing that tonight. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. And it is a time that we can relax and craft together. So again, we are working on the Stitch'n Hedgie embroidered bag. This is the embroidery of the month. We still have the bundles available, and the bundles have all the floss, needle, hoop, and the cute little drawstring bag. So we kind of got all set up to start this yellow line that's coming up next. So we're going to get at it right away here. Thank you again, guys, for joining me. Let's see how much we can stitch of this tonight. This is day 3 of us working on this project. So, all right, let's get going. Okay, here we are, you guys. So we almost have the whole hedgie done, and we're working on his little stitching project here tonight. So that is the plan. Oh, Pamela says that she just finished last month's tonight. Nice. That is awesome. Hello, everyone. All right, you guys, we are still on Facebook and YouTube, so take your pick on what works best for you guys this evening. Okay, so I'm already set up here. I've woven in the ends here, so we're ready to just start stitching. And I'm using that sewing method of stitching again, where I go in and out in the same motion, just because I don't want to pull my thread all the way through to the back, because I don't want to get caught on the back of my bag, or I don't want my thread to get caught in the little arms of the bag, the handles. So we're going to use the sewing method again. Here's my instructions. So what we're doing this little bitty line right there, and that's really all that we're doing right now with this yellow. Okay, so for the sewing method, we go in and out in the same motion. All right, so that's the end of my first stitch and the start of my second stitch. And we are just going to go down this line. So the nice thing about the sewing method is, yeah, I don't have any thread. I'm not bringing the needle to the back, and I don't have any thread that can get caught anywhere on the back. So this is an extra nice way to do this particular project, because I don't want anything caught all crazy. So I do have the piece looser in the hoop. It's a bit easier to do this sewing method with that loose fabric there. So let me know how your evening is going. Man, we had the car on the way home today said it was 93 degrees, so that's pretty toasty. We had to move a bunch of stuff when we got home too, and holy cow, 93 is pretty warm for us here. Alright. Trying to get comfortable again with this tonight. Always takes a little bit of a warm up, I feel like. This is a good warm up, this little line here. So I'm just moving around like I'm upside down right now, but I'm just moving to where my hand is most comfortable. I'm most comfortable going from right to left like this. So I'm just kind of keeping on rotating for that. And I have my left hand in back, kind of making sure I'm touching the backs of the stitches. I'm making sure everything feels right. If I feel a knot or something, then I'll flip it around and take care of that. All right, last stitch of the yellow. All right, and now we're going to go to the back again. we're doing this little back stitch. All right, so there we are. That's like the outer edge of the hoop. All right, let's flip it around. Let's weave in this edge, and then I think blue is up next. So I'll show you guys what that looks like. Here I'm inside the bag here now, and I am weaving in this end versus tying a knot here. Oh, Charlotte says we had beans from our garden for supper tonight. That is amazing. We also found some green beans in our garden yesterday, just like 3 of them. So we each had one, just raw, and split the last one. And that was just so delicious. There's nothing better than fresh fruit or vegetables from the garden when it's been warming by the sun all day. Ugh, it's just the best. But yeah, it was so warm today. I should, maybe when we're done here tonight, or tomorrow morning probably, I'll have to check to see how things grew a little bit more. All right, I'm going to do this blue. It's the fabric, so this circle and this outer bit, that's still a back stitch. And then I think we'll do this line here and the satin stitch here. And actually, his little needle is blue as well. I might get that while I have some blue on the needle from that. So, okay, that's my next step. I already have some blue pre-cut because we cut it with a different color earlier. It's about 24 inches. And let's split these threads. So just grabbing one at a time. Alright, 2. Oh, Deborah says we had a nice afternoon. No rain. It's rained like 4 days here in eastern North Carolina. Wow. Yeah, we haven't really watered the garden yet because we've had like no rain for like 2 days and then a big old thunderstorm and then more no rain. So we've been kind of having these scattered rain showers. So we haven't needed to water too much yet, which is good because our soaker hoses are completely kind of broken. My dad gave us some stuff that we could fix it with, an old hose that can go around like any tears in the soaker hose, and then we'll like clamp it shut or something is what it looks like. Rebecca says she loves tomatoes and cucumbers. Ugh, tomatoes warmed by the sun, fresh from the garden, those are delicious for sure. All right, I'm just kind of trying to map this out like a way I want to do this circle and this line here. I think I'm going to start here and I'm going to do this line and then I'll end up here and then we'll do that circle and then we'll have done it. So I'm trying to find the best route to not have any jumps to another area. So if I start here, go to here, then it's just a tiny little jump up to here, and then I can do that circle. So let's do that. So I'm going to weave in the ends right here, and then we'll start up there. So we'll weave into the backs of these yellow bits. All right, pulling it kind of towards the end of the floss there, but not all the way through. We have some little baby kohlrabis growing, and we've already cut some kale and some lettuce. So that's been kind of fun and delicious. So we've honed in the garden over the years to just things that we know we'll eat for sure. And I mean, the kohlrabis will eat, but we also like to kind of do things that kind of grow more than just the one thing. So like a kohlrabi, we'll just get that one. So it kind of uses up a lot of space. for what we like. But like with kale, we can just keep cutting off the little bits and it'll keep growing. And same with the lettuce. So I like that. And the beans and zucchini as well. We have zucchini, and all those will produce a lot from their one little spot versus the kohlrabi that will only grow the one from its spot. So we've honed in onto things that we actually eat and things that produce a lot, except for this year. This year we were ordering plants and stuff on a website because of COVID. So we ended up with a few kohlrabis, which are delicious, which are wonderful, but don't quite fit the realm of being able to produce a lot in its one little tiny area. But one of these years we'll get it perfectly right. We do have I saw a tiny baby zucchini the other day. I think that was like 2 days ago. So man, maybe today we could have like a full-size zucchini. Those things grow really quickly. So we'll see. I'll have to peek tomorrow. I'll peek tomorrow and I'll have to report back tomorrow night on where we're at with all that. I'm definitely liking the speed of this sewing method. Again, the sewing method is when you go in and out with the needle in one motion. Like you finish the one stitch and you start the next stitch in the same motion. It is speedy. Accuracy is still a thing, so I'm trying to get a little bit better at that. It's so much easier to get pinpointed to exactly where you want the stitch to start and end when you go straight up and down, and you can do that more easy with the stabbing method, but it does take more time, and we end up on the back of our piece a lot, which again, we don't want to do that in this because I'm going to end up messing up and stitching through the back of the bag or something else. Alright, so this will be our last stitch on this bottom area, so now we're up on the, I'm going to probably not have enough thread to go all the way around here, but we're up on the top of this little embroidery bit. Alright, I think we'll go this way. Feels more natural. Whatever feels right, that's what I think. So I hope you guys are having fun stitching this. I sent out all the kits that have been ordered so far. So if you've ordered one of these bundles, it is in the mail if you haven't received it already. So letting you know that if you are expecting it. And I do have more available as well. I ordered an extra bunch this time. Oh, you had kale stalks last summer for your dogs. Oh, interesting. They chew on it like a bone. Well, that's interesting. I like all those little tricks. All those gardeny tidbits. Oh, Colette says her son stitched his to my comforter last night. Oh, so he was stitching and accidentally stitched into the comforter. Yeah, I've stitched into my shirt before. So that's annoying. But yeah, so this sewing method I think is helping with that a bit. Because the needle is only ever at the top here. I'll rotate a bit again. next up, oh, we'll do the needle, is a little like needle right there, and then we will, I might actually need to get more blue for that. I might end up being out of this blue. But then after that, we'll stitch the red thread going to that little heart. And then we'll do the heart. And I still haven't decided if I'm going to go back and stitch his eyes and feet yet. I might wait on that till a little later. We'll see. Ugh, I should probably just do it. Make the decision and get it done. I'm thinking I wouldn't have to because the lines are already black and I'm going to be stitching over it in black, but it does add some thickness and texture, and maybe I should just do it. Alright, a couple more stitches and we will weave in the end. Okay, last bit. Ugh, yeah, I don't know if we'll have enough. I mean, like, I literally only need to make one stitch here, but I still need to weave in the ends. Maybe we'll give it a try without getting more floss. The toes are black, so the toes are gonna be black, and so are the eyes. You can do the eyes with French knots, Sylvia, but I'm gonna do them with just like little itty bitty stitches so I can have them kind of round like how they are here. But you could do French knots. That would totally work. All right, I have a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of thread here, but I'm going to see if I can use it to do this little bitty stitch. Ah, it's so little, but I'm going to try. So I literally need to make just one stitch up here, but I need to weave in the ends first. And I need to weave it in when I'm done. So I need enough. Oh, and I pulled it out there. Let's try it this way. Ah, my gosh. Now I pulled it out at that side, so let's just try that again. Whenever I have thread this short, that's when I start accidentally pulling the needle off. All right, let's be a little more careful. Okay, 2, 3, and then literally this just one tiny stitch. And that's his needle there. It's just the little blue. Ugh, I'm going to have just enough floss, I think. Again, this guy is pulling his arm is all the way back, so I think he's using a little too long of thread. He should only be able to pull his thread to about here. He's going to get a sore shoulder from stitching this heart, I think. All right, there we go. We got his little needle. Now we got to weave in the end again, and we did not have to start another piece of thread. That's nice. All right. Whew, made it. All right, next up. Oh, he's looking cute. Okay, so I think, I mean, we do have those eyes and stuff yet, but I think I'm going to do this red for the, this thread and the heart. So the nice thing, so remember we are going from the furthest thing back to the thing that's most up front. And so because we saved this thread as the most forward thing, I can stitch all over these spikes and over this outline and over this outline here, and it's going to look like that thread is the thing that's closest to us, which is what it is. If we were looking at this guy in real life, the thread would be in front of, his face and in front of his back there. All right, looks like I have a little bit of 3 strands already pulled together here, so I'm going to get started right away. So I think I'm going to start from the thread here and then go to the satin stitch. So someone posted in, Jane says we need an entire Hedgie family. Oh, that'd be fun. That would be really, really fun. Okay, so I am going to, I'm going to stitch this, but someone in the group posted, in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, posted their version of this heart, and it was satin stitched, but it wasn't satin stitched all the way. It was only satin stitched to his thread, so he wasn't quite done. So this little area was open yet, which totally makes sense because he's not done embroidering his heart here. So I think I'm going to try the same thing. So I'm going to stitch to here, and then I'll start satin stitching right where he left off there. So I'll leave this little area kind of free of satin stitches. I think that'd be kind of cute. I didn't do that in the real design. I went all the way up to the edge here, but I think, yeah, if I just leave that little bit and leave my little black outline there, it'll look like he's just still working. I thought that was so cute. That was a good idea. I forget who did that in the group though. Fun. All right. I'm gonna kind of, I think, stitch in the back of these, and then we'll just jump over to that starting point. Ooh, this red is pretty. Okay, 2. And I might need more thread for that satin stitch. I don't know. Thread seems to be going awfully quick here. Okay. So I'm going to jump down here. Oh, Martha, I'm glad. Martha says, I'm glad I saw how you weave in the threads. I've done it wrong for years. Always wondered how the ends would not come loose. Thanks. Oh, that's sweet. So I think if you use knots, I mean, you can totally use knots, but I think that weaving in the ends is actually a little bit more secure, and you do have to get that third weave in because that kind of does the final secure. All right, so I stopped for a sec here because I noticed I got a knot, and this is one of these loopy knots that, actually no, I think it's more than a loopy knot. Oh yeah, it's like a double loopy knot. But sometimes when you get, these are really typical knots for embroidering, and if you just stick your needle in one of the loops and pull, that usually kind of loosens it up. Sometimes the knot will come right up to the needle. But I always, instead of trying to pick at them, I start by sticking my needle in the loop and pull on it and see if it tightens up to the needle, and if that's the case, then I can just pop it right out. If we get another one of those, I'll show you again here. So I think, yeah, I'm just looking at the design again. This goes in front of his little paw hand point thing. They're kind of like this. And then I'm going to kind of start on this edge. I'm finishing the one stitch and starting the next line. There we go. There, so it's in front of his hand there. All right, now we're going to cruise down the edge here. I'm stitching over all of the little spikes. So when I have a straightaway like this, like just a straight line, I tend to make my stitches a little bit bigger. I mean, you can stay consistent with your stitches. Like you could do nice little small stitches for your whole entire piece, but I kind of reserve the super small stitches for going around really tight curves. Like we'll use really small stitches when we do his eyes. But I think, yeah, I'm just looking at the design again. This is one of these loopy knots that I got a knot. And then I'm going to kind of stitch in the back of these, and then we'll just jump over to that starting point. but just for speed's sake, and because it's fun, I tend to do a little bit bigger stitches on the straightaways. You can do whatever you like. It all works. He's looking cute. Gosh, so it's already Wednesday, so we're gonna have a lot to do on this feather yet. By the end of the week, I think. So, you know what? Maybe, I was thinking maybe we do this Craft a Happy Light banner next, but maybe it'd be better to start doing some of these flowers and stuff, because then I can show you how to do like a lazy daisy stitch and some French knots. So I think instead of doing this Craft a Happy Life, which is just kind of more back stitching like what we've been doing, why don't we do like this side here? Then we could do some of the lazy daisy and French knot stitches tomorrow and Friday. I think we'll do that. This actually has all of it. It's got back stitches here. It's got lazy daisy or single chain stitches. I call them lazy daisy stitches when they go around a flower like this. And then French knots. Oh, and then in the middle there, I think there's some more satin stitching like what we did for his nose and tongue and what we're going to be doing for this heart here. So this side kind of has it all there. Oh, Noeline says, gotta go, grocery delivery just arrived. We had our grocery delivery come this evening too. And I've eaten a ton of cookies already. Cookies and chips, those don't last very long once they come in. Okay. So I don't have a ton of thread left, but I have enough to get started with this, and I'm going to just get into this satin stitch right away. But remember, I'm going to leave like this little edge blank because he's as if he's not quite done. So I think I'm going to actually cross over here to this side. I'm going to try and go a little kind of parallel with this point to this point. So I think that's looking okay. Here, I'll just go here. Okay, about like there. So it was about right there. All right, and now we're going to just do satin stitch. Oh, jeez. I was thinking I already went in this hole here, but I didn't. Missed the last little stitch, so just took that out. There we go. I think about right there. All right, and now I'm gonna just satin stitch here. Cute, yeah, it's gonna look like he's almost to the part where he's gonna satin stitch this little heart up. So I'm going a little on the outside of this line, just so I'm kind of covering up that line with stitches, but I am just going like one little thread of the fabric thread away from my last stitch. I think it's looking pretty cute. Satin stitch takes up a lot of thread though, so I don't think I'm going to get too far on this. Yeah, I think this actually might be the last stitch here. Alright, I will go down on this side and we'll weave in that end. But he's got his little heart started there. Fun. I think I'm going to kind of jump over here and then weave in the backs of these stitches. I do have a little, I do have a little piece of red cut already, so good. We'll be able to do the rest of the heart with the other piece of red. The back's looking nice still. Not too many big loops for anything to grab on, so that's nice. All right, before I flip around, I'm gonna find the other piece of red. This feels a little bit shorter, so this must be the piece that I used earlier for the tongue there, I suspect. This should be enough to get us to the end of that heart, hopefully. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Then I guess I'll just shimmy underneath here and we'll start right back up. Let's see. Was I going from this side? I think I was going this side to the other side. Okay, so that's kind of the last stitch of getting to the center there. You can see that the angle, maybe you can't, but like you can see it, the angle isn't, I didn't get that first angle exactly like this, so you can kind of see that I've spread out my stitches on this side and tightened them on this side, so my stitches kind of angle up, so they kind of rotate a hair. So that's not necessarily ideal, but you know, you do what you have to do to get the things to line up where you want. So I think it's just perfectly acceptable. Totally fine. All right. Let's do that weaving method, or the sewing method again. I think this is probably easier using the stabbing method than the sewing method, but we're getting it done. It's fine. I think it's actually okay that the stitches aren't super parallel. Ooh, that stitch is maybe a little funny. Let's see if I can just tighten it a little to... There. Almost done with the little heart. I like that we left that little area though. I think that's cute. He's still working on that part. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have enough thread, I think, for this. Playing a little more thread chicken with this heart than I thought I was gonna. I think this may be it. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Might be my last stitch. There. Yep, I think that's cute. It's silly. I like him. All right, I'm going to weave in those ends. Ooh, it's pretty and nice and satiny on the back, too. It gets that satin look because all of the stitches are going in the same direction. So when the light hits it all the same. So that makes it just that even, shiny surface that looks like satin. Okay, so I guess all that is left of him is to get his little toes and his little eyes. So I think we'll still do that. Although, do I need to really? I don't know. I'm still kind of deciding whether I really need to do the eyes and the and the feet there because they're already the black. You know what? I think let's just kind of move on. I think we'll let it be for now. If I come back at the end, then and still want it there, I can always add it back in. There's one more little part that has black, and that's his little lines and wings and stuff here. So once we do that black, I'll probably come back in and do this little area here. Okay. Oh, Colette is asking, what do you recommend on that heart if you've transferred the pattern in pencil? Just a single strand on black on the unsewn area? Colette, that's a great idea. So Colette's asking if you want to do it like this, where you leave a little area open, because I mean, I didn't actually do that in the pattern. The pattern, like, you can fill it all in, but I think this is just such a sweet idea. And again, this wasn't my idea. Someone did this in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, but it's so sweet. I think Colette, a single strand of black would be great. I think that's an excellent idea. The only other thing I could think of is that you could do like a really thin permanent marker, like a micron pen or something, but I actually like your idea better. I like the one strand of thread here. Okay, let's look at this. So I'm looking at this grouping here, and I'm kind of making decisions on where I want to go next, like how do I want to stitch this next. And I think I want to do this stem with the lazy daisy stitches, or those single chain stitches. I think I want to do those first, because I think it feels like the farthest thing back. Because like this flower here, I want it to go on top of this line. So I want to stitch this line first so that this can later sit on top of it, is kind of what I'm thinking. But maybe we just go however far one strand will get us, and then we jump over to do these. But I don't know, maybe we'll do the whole leaf thing. But all right, so I think the way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to do a back stitch. Wondering if we should do these little grasses then right away too. We'll probably do it all. We got some time yet, so I think we'll stitch all these little grasses down here. Then we'll start up the stem, and once we get to one of these single chain stitches, we'll do that. Then continue up the stem. Depending on how much thread we have left at that point, we can either go this way or continue up the stem, get more lazy daisies, and just keep getting those as we go up the stem. I think that sounds like a plan to me. So, all right, this is green, and you can see I took the hoop off because we need to scooch it over. So let's do that first. So I still have the hoop on the inside, but I'm going to kind of focus. Let's try and get as much of this flower in as possible. Okay, we'll get about there because I do want to get this area down here first. Oh, and it's great that I'm actually not going over these stitches. I hate when I have to put the hoop over stitches, so we'll have to do it at some point, right? But it's nice that I don't have to do it quite yet. I'm going to push down on this just so I can make it looser, because again, it's easier in the hoop loose when we're doing that sewing method. And that's where we go that in and out with the needle at the same time. Ooh, Jane. Jane says, French knots, yuck, I'm no good at those. Tomorrow we will do a whole pile of French knots. So tomorrow we will come back and we'll get all of these itty bitty French knots. So I have some tricks for French knots. I've talked about a few times the 3 things you might be doing wrong. That is making your French knots be weird. So I suspect you may be doing one of these 3 things, and we'll explore that a little bit more tomorrow. But I'll do my little demo here again of the 3 things you might be doing wrong. 1, 2, or 3, or any combination of those 3. But if you're doing any of these 3 things, you're going to have some issues with the French knot. And if you're doing these 3 things and you don't have this issue, then you're getting lucky. So we'll look at that tomorrow. Today I'd like to get as far on these little stems, but yeah, we'll do some of these French knots that are all up in here. We're just going to kind of work on one area and get to the next. So maybe even, yeah, tomorrow we'll come back and do those, I think. All right, we have this green. This is that fun, kind of light green here. Citrusy green. Okay. I think I could either start with an away knot, but I think this floss here is close enough that I think I can just weave in the ends here and then jump down to here and no one's going to care. So let's just do that. Okay, so we are still, like, the mouth of this bag is big enough that I can open it up all the way down to here, so that's good. Okay, 1. And 3. 3's the important one. Oh, Charlotte says, and if I repeat these demos often enough, someday I'll remember how to do them. Or she'll remember how to do them. Yep, I will be repeating them for sure. All right, I didn't really map this out very well, but let's just, we'll do these back stitches still, so I'm going to get them in. This one looks like a 4-stitcher. We'll be jumping around a little bit with these grasses, but that's okay. Oh, sorry, bumped you guys. Alright, and let's get this guy. He looks like a 3-stitcher. Okay, so I'm going to jump all the way over to these. I actually might run out of floss just by doing these guys, so we'll see how far we get. This is kind of a big jump, but oh well. So these, again, I'm making kind of large stitches, but that's okay. I mean, I guess we made some really big stitches with those spines. It's all gonna work. Oh, Jennifer, that's a good find. Jennifer said that she found her light box in her sewing room. I have used those just quite a bit. Perfect for transferring your design here. Alright, let's get the next little blade of grass. Kind of going back and forth, so I'm always stitching from right to left just because it's most comfortable. So if I had this in a embroidery stand, I'd probably just have one hand in back and one hand in front, and I might not rotate so often, but I'm doing what's comfortable here. keep going down here for. I think we might be able to get a few stitches in here with this thread yet. We'll see. It's like this is a sponge soaking up thread. I feel like the thread is getting used up real quick, but maybe that's because we're using the sewing method. This is a faster way of stitching, so maybe I'm just used to my thread lasting longer, but maybe we're actually just stitching faster. That'd be kind of cool. All right, last little grass area over here. Last stitch didn't seem tight enough. All right, this will be just 3 stitches. All right, and then for this, I am going to jump over here, but just because that's kind of a big jump, I think I'm going to go to the back. And I'm going to just tuck underneath some of these stitches to get back to that other stitch, because then I won't have such a big jump because it'll be going underneath these stitches. All right, now let's do what we can with the rest of this thread. I'm not sure I'll have enough to get to do this lazy daisy when I get to it, so I might have to stitch, and if I have some, I'll stitch like a little bit further, and then when we get the new thread, we'll start with that lazy daisy stitch. But I'm thinking whatever thread I have up there. Lazy daisies take a lot of thread, so or single chain stitches, either or. I'm kind of using those terms interchangeably. Even though a lazy daisy is a lot of single chain stitches around a center point, and a single chain stitch is just one just hanging out on his own. They're also called detached chain stitches sometimes. I kind of jump in between lazy daisy just out of habit and single chain stitches. All right, so I am going to kind of go past that one. So, oh well, we'll have to come back for him. I probably actually had enough thread, but just barely for that guy. So I think I'm going to go up the path of this. Ugh, maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know. I'm going to go straight. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to get, with the next thread, I'm going to get this lazy daisy, and then I'm going to go up and do this line, and then I'll come back to these other lazy daisies that I'm also not going to get. Oh gosh, this is a little bit bigger than this is like 2 stitches big. I don't know why I did that. So I'm going to go back and try and get another back stitch out of here. This is kind of odd. There we are. All right, and I think that's it. Let's weave in the end. So a little bit of grass, a little bit of the stem. Okay, weave in those ends. Oh, Pam says, I'm so much happier with the back since you taught me how to weave in the ends. Oh, that's good. Never did like my knots. Yeah, the biggest thing, I mean, first of all, it makes your back really nice and clean, but I think the big reason for a clean back is that when you have knots on the back, like if you're starting your next piece of thread and you tie a knot and just start stitching, that is something for your thread to get caught on. So if I had a knot here, I could accidentally get it caught, like if my fingernail is the knot, get it caught, and then I have this big loop on the back that I didn't know I had, and I probably stitched like 100 more stitches until I saw that giant loop caught on a knot in the back. And I think it's things like that that make the back kind of messy and, wastes thread and all that. And then plus that that weaving back and forth the 3 times, I think that's a bit more secure than just a knot. Like, because if you have a knot, sometimes that can, if you're washing it a lot, it can come out. It can just get, get a little bit bigger and undo itself. All right, so I forgot this lazy daisy, or this single chain stitch down here. So let's make sure that we get that. So I'm going to weave in the end so I end up at the start of that. Okay. All right, so for a lazy daisy or a single chain stitch, it actually works great with the sewing method that we're doing. So we're going to come up at the point. So we have the point, and then we kind of have like this rounded apex area, like the top of the shape there. So I'm going to come out at the point to start, and then I'm going to go back in the exact same point, and then in the same motion I'm going to come up at that apex there. Then I can just take my thread and wrap it around that needle. So I literally just tucked it under the needle, and you can actually do it with either side of the floss will get the job done, but I like taking it from the side that's not connected to the needle. So I'm going to go around the back. So you can see I just caught it on there, and then I'm going to just pull the needle through. What I'm basically doing is making a loop that my thread is on the inside of that loop. So I'm going to pull on that until this thread stops the loop, basically. So I'm not going to pull it really tight. If I pull it really tight, then, if I pull it really tight like this, then look, the two sides of the thread are right next to each other, so it just looks like one fat stitch. If we leave it looser, if we leave it more lazy, then it will have that nice teardrop shape. All our stitches don't have to be super duper tight. I know that's kind of like the instinct of making stitches. I'm just trying to loosen this up again after I pulled it tight there. But all right, there we go. There we go. So I'm leaving it loose, but that's not going to stay there. Like, this is going to pop up like that, right? So we need to tack it down. So right at the top of the loop there, I'm going to go on just the other side of that loop. So a tiny, tiny stitch on the other side of that loop. And there we go. We made that tiny stitch that just kind of tacked it down. And that's all there is to it. So that's a pretty big lazy daisy or single chain stitch, but that's kind of what these leaves look like for this. So, all right, I'm going to start back up. I'm just jumping from here to there, and I'm going to finish up this little kind of stray stem here, and then I think I'll jump back. I think I'll have enough to do the next two single chain stitches there. All right. Some quick chain stitches. But yeah, since you're going like so far and then you're making that same leap on the back, those single chain stitches or those lazy daisies just take up a lot of floss. Okay, I think 2 more stitches will do it for us here. Okay, so it's kind of a big jump to go from here to there, so I'll probably weave in the ends, in the backs of the stitches, or not the ends, I'll weave my thread in the back of the stitches here just to kind of get to this point again, and then we'll start. Actually, I'll probably do these lazy daisies first, and then I'll jump back and do that stitching. So I'm going to just put my needle in here, and we'll pull the thread through to the back, and hopefully I'm not catching any, I don't want to go through the back of my fabric. I don't want to go through a loop on accident, so I'm just trying to pay attention. Okay, so I'm going to go into the back of these threads And we'll just kind of jump back to here. Now I can do those loops and I won't have a big leap on the back. Okay, so let's get these little lazy daisies. So same thing, I'm going to come up at the point. You can actually make the loop shape already if you want. And then I'm going to go back in that same point. Ooh. And then up to the apex of that loop again. Make sure that the thread is tucked behind. All right, and we're going to leave it lazy, just like that, nice and loose. And then let's do that little tack on the other side here. All right, and then I'm going to come back in the same spot down here because I have that second one to do. Just making sure I didn't catch anything on the back when I did that. Nope. All right. Let's not make that loop now. I'll just go back in right away. Come up at that apex. Let's wrap around the back of the needle and pull up, and we'll leave it lazy again and then get the needle on that other side. Okay, I'm going to come up for my next stitch right away. There we go. All right, so there I'm tacking it down, and now I'm back to do more back stitches. Yay, so we'll keep going. I suspect my thread won't last that much longer up there. But we're kind of cruising along on this little green stem. So my stitches are all different lengths. Again, using this sewing method, I'm definitely not practiced enough, let's say, to make all my stitches like perfectly the same length. But I kind of think that's cute. All right, we're approaching another lazy daisy, but I don't think I have enough floss for that lazy daisy, so I'm going to keep going again with the back stitches. Actually, I might just barely get to that lazy daisy. Oh, that single chain stitch, I suppose. Yeah, we're just going to go past it. And I think I'll just keep going straight. And we'll come back for that little offshoot. I think that's about it. Let's go to the back and weave in our ends. That's coming along though. That looks like we covered a lot of ground there. I think once we get these flowers started, it'll really look like we got a lot done. Okay, last little bit. Okay. And I think that is about what we have time for tonight. So let's take it out tonight just so we can see how it's looking. Cute. All right. Oh, I just think that's just so darling, leaving that little bit there. It's fun. All right, so we got all the way up to here done of the green. So I think tomorrow we'll put this area in the hoop again, and I think we will start on maybe some of these pink flowers. I know that's going to suck up floss really, really quick. So maybe we'll do those lazy daisies of the flowers. Then let's maybe go back and do the satin stitch of the center area. And then we have all of these little French knots here that are all yellow. So maybe, if we can get this much in the hoop, we'll come back and get these little French knots and all these little French knots before moving the hoop up a little bit more. So we'll get the hoop here and then move it up after that. So we'll do a lazy daisies. We'll do satin stitch, and we will do French knots tomorrow. And I suspect we'll be able to get that done, and we'll probably get all of this up here done as well. At least that's what I'm hoping. So if we can get all that done on Thursday, yeah, we can probably... Hey, we might get close to getting finished. I think, we can probably get all this done Friday. Maybe these French knots. So if anything, maybe the only thing we'll have left unfinished will maybe be this Craft a Happy Life. We'll have to come back and do that sometime. And I would still like to make a lining for this at some point too. So we might have to have a little extended weekend stitch along coming up here. So I'll have to figure that out yet too. But all right, he's coming along. I'm going to flip you around and we'll call it an evening here. All right, hello. So let's take a look at this. All right, I like adding that green in there. It's starting to get that fun color. You could just leave, just do the hedgehog again. I mean, you can keep it with just the black outlines. But, ooh, you know what's going to be fun? These bursts of pink. So all of these flowers are that bright pink. That is going to look cute once we get that in. And then closed, it still looks awfully cute. It's that little backpack style. Ah, I like it. This one's fun. I'm having a really nice time stitching this with you guys. So we'll continue this tomorrow on those flowers. I will get the replay. Well, the replay of this live will be up automatically on both Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch it again if you wanted to, fast forward to how we did those lazy daisy stitches, single crochet stitches, not crochet, single chain stitches. And we'll continue this tomorrow. So thanks, guys. This bundle is still available if you want to grab one. Just check the shop, Penguin and Fish, and the embroidery of the month, and it will be there. And there's a link below. So have a great evening. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.